started my public service as a prosecutor for the town of Herndon. I was a deputy town attorney. It was a part-time job, and although mostly public servants of that nature are hired by the Commonwealth's Attorney's Office, the town of Herndon, because it's an incorporated town, they can hire their own prosecutor. So that was my first experience into public service. That was a long time ago, and it didn't really have to do with schools. It just had to do with being a public servant. But I was able to build upon that and later become qualified by the Virginia Supreme Court to be a guardian ad litem, which is an attorney that represents the best interest of kids in court-appointed cases. So building on the experience as an attorney and then getting qualified with some courses that had to do with children and education and child development, I was able to take my career down a little bit of a different path. And everybody always wants to know, why'd you run for office? For this particular office, I think being a helper and a problem solver who's already rooted in the community is a really important characteristic to have. Having been an LCPS parent for over a decade, I found myself often trying to help our neighbors or the families of my son's friends, or even just people that I would meet through PTA or other volunteer positions, to figure out how to navigate the system or get information they need. So I was already doing a little bit of that. It's definitely not the same as doing the full job, and our current school board member, who's served for 2 terms, Miss Rose, decided that she was going to step down, and it became an open seat. So I felt at that time that I could step into the role and try to take my help of the community to a different level. As part of the Loudoun County School Board, we are 7 new members coming in. I think that the first thing we need to do is to make sure that we have a good understanding of the process through which the board makes changes. And a lot of people don't realize that the school board doesn't actually control everything. There's a big division of responsibilities. The school board sets educational policies, but it's the superintendent, his cabinet, and the administration, and then kind of down from there, the teachers and the administrators who implement the superintendent's vision. So we don't get involved in the day-to-day operations of how things happen at school, although we advocate for everyone within our individual districts and the needs they have. And sometimes we will meet with them and with administration to help facilitate things, but we stay out of the day-to-day operations because we're not the experts in that. Generally speaking, the types of policy decisions or changes I would like to see focus around making sure that the community is extremely well informed about everything that we're deciding. So outreach and input are some of my priorities. And to that end, I've already started setting up a monthly set of office hours. It's going to be, I don't know if you know where Ridgetop Coffee is, but I thought it was important to have something that would be in district. So I've worked out some time with them where I can have their meeting room for 3 or 4 hours, and I'll be publishing that on my website. So if there's people in Algonkian who want to come and talk to me, we can have some direct conversation, not just the school board building or the admin building and school board meetings. So right now, the agenda is set to discuss several things that have been ongoing. The budget process is on the agenda for January. Basically, the day after we're sworn in is our first school board meeting, and that's when Dr. Williams will present his budget to the entire school board. So to prepare for that, last year I observed all of the budget meetings, and there's quite a number of them, because he'll present it, and then each of the assistant superintendents presents. There's opportunity for public hearing, public comment, and then we have a meeting with the Board of Supervisors, the joint committee, and we discuss with them what it is that we support in the budget, and we actually have to ask them for that money, and that money will then come back to the schools and we'll take it from there. So that's the first thing that we'll have to deal with as a new school board. For me, it's really important to take care of the people that are taking care of our kids. That includes all of the educators, the staff, the support staff. One of the things that I'm really hopeful will happen with the General Assembly is that the cap on support staff salaries will be lifted so that we are able to provide better compensation there. I would also like to see us work on closing the mid-teacher pay sag. Right now at LCPS, the beginning salaries are excellent, we're the best. But if you spend your career here at LCPS, over the span of that entire time, you're going to make well over 6 figures less than if you went to another county. So for me, that's one of the priorities for this budget cycle. With regard to the Algonkian district specifically, I would like to see our capital improvements, our CIP, which is not part of the operating budget, but it has to do more with facilities. I'd like to see a little more attention there, maybe move some of the projects into an earlier fiscal year so that we can get the buildings and the facilities a little more up to par with what everyone else in the county has. So some of those projects would include updates to facilities for athletic training. There are also some schools that want and need newer materials for their theater arts programs. And some of the elementary schools that I visited need new blacktops, maybe updating of sinks I saw, just really basic nuts and bolts issues in the buildings. One of our schools needs sprinkler systems, and some of the Algonkian schools need to become ADA compliant. So as I was preparing to run for office and win my seat, I spent some time going from school to school within Algonkian so that I could get to know the individual needs of those communities and advocate for them when the budget process starts. I grew up in Northern Virginia. I graduated from Fairfax County Public Schools, which is close, even though it's not exactly the same, but I also had cousins who graduated from LCPS, so I've been a Northern Virginia resident for a long time, and I remember a little bit of what school was like, but it's very different for you guys. So I'd love for anyone who is a student here to know that my door is open to them if there's anything that they need that I can do for them. But also, the more I know about what experience you guys are having, the better job I can do. So open door policy, come by and see me, send me an email or reach out to me if there's things that you think I can know about that would help me make things better. It's very important to me that our kids who graduate from LCPS reach their full potential and be able to go down whatever path they want after graduating, whether that's more education through college or more vocational training or just going directly to work, because you guys are our future and we want you to do great things.